Rebels and Patriots. Wargaming rules for North America, colonies to Civil War. Yeah, we're going to be doing some War in the Vendée. I want to show you something adorable in this rule set. This is part of the, well, here, I'll just read it to you. Right here in the introduction, welcome to Rebels and Patriots, the final expansion of Dan's original Rampant Wargaming series. The final expansion, I got a little Xenos here that begs to differ. Be that as it may, fine set of rules, a little bit different from what we've seen before. We don't have any giant robots or giant dragons, and when it comes to cavalry, we don't have heavily armored guys with super long lances. We just have a bunch of dudes, just regular bros out there doing what they do when they're at war. So, unlike the other Rampant games where different units have different capabilities, in this case, anybody that wants to move is going to make their activation roll, and they need a 6 or better. Anybody that wants to attack, charge into melee, they got to roll a 6 or better. Now, you do have the ability, different units will have bonuses on that. But just remember that when we roll our activation, 6 up is what you need. So, for example, I think some of these guys have like aggressive, gives them a +1. And when you, instead of having morale checks have negatives based on how many guys you have lost so far, you get disorder markers. This will all become a lot more obvious as we go through the rules. I'm not going to bang on at them at length right now. What I wanted to show you is that our royalists, we're going to start here, have a leader on horseback. Now, this model might be on horseback, but he's part of a 12-man unit. Notice these guys are all armed with muskets. So we're going to call that a line infantry. They only move at 3 inches. The other 3 units that we have here, they're going to move at 4 inches because those are our farmers. They are a mix of guys with just farm implements, but there are a few, so there's a scythe that's been straightened out, but each of these units has a few guys, see, here's one right here, with a musket. That allows them to carry out a skirmish action. They can fire at half strength, they have some firing ability, but they cannot receive a fire activation order. They can only move or attack, right? But they are aggressive, meaning when they fight, they're going to hit on a 4 up. Usually, people that fight only hit on 6s. And they are poor shots, so normally instead of hitting on 5s, they're only going to hit on 6s. So the skirmish action, terrible at shooting, very weak. Not necessarily that the individual guys shooting are bad, but there are fewer guys with muskets. We're still early enough in the counter-revolution that they haven't secured enough weapons to really go toe-to-toe with the local Sons of Voltaire, the militia, the revolutionary militia. So let's take a look at those guys now real quick. So here we are, a bunch of good-looking lads in the bright blue uniforms. I am playing a 16-point battle to start things off. I'm not entirely comfortable with the rules yet, and all of those little changes. You know, we're playing the same language here, but we got a different dialect. And that's where you tend to get tripped up because you assume that the rules that worked in other games work the same here. We're going to take our time. We're going to play a nice small battle. In fact, in order to simplify things a little bit, the Sons of Voltaire here, these revolutionaries, are only going to start with 2 units on the board. Now, they both have 16 points. Both sides have 16 points. These guys have a 4-point line infantry and a 6-point medium gun on the table to start. That's the objective. The farmers want to get their hands on this cannon. At the start of turn, at the bottom half, I guess the farmers are going to be the attackers. So at the bottom half of the inning, the third inning, we're going to bring this unit of light cavalry on the board. Notice there's only 6 of them, but they are speedy, and they are veterans. So this is the only veteran unit. They will be appearing on turn 3. And in fact, to kind of balance things out even a little bit more, we're going to bring one of the units of farmers on at the top of turn 3. So we're only going to start with 2 units for these guys and 3 units for the Vendéans on the board at the start of the game. In fact, let's take a look at the board now, shall we? Let's paint the scene, shall we? Just kind of set what's going on here. The revolutionaries have finally done away with King Louis XVI, and that has triggered unrest in the countryside. The peasants have had just about enough of this democracy jazz, and they are fighting for their rights as Catholics. The revolutionaries smell blood, and like sharks, they are eager to spill as much of it as they can. So they've called out the local militia to put down the local uprising. We have our medium cannon in the center of town, and 1 unit of line infantry. Now, what they don't realize is that the farmers are coming in from the table over on this side. They've snuck through the woods. They're not coming down the road, except, as I said, at the start of turn 3, we're going to bring that last unit of natives, the farmers, on, and I don't know where they're coming in yet. It'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll roll, and then they'll come on. If they make a successful move action, and then on their half, we'll start rolling for the cavalry, and they will come on wherever the Vendean farmers don't. It'll be 50-50 which of these other roads those cavalry come in on. So let's take a look at the setup for the Vendeans over here on the eastern side of the village as we look at it. The Vendeans have approached the village from the east, and historically, the Vendeans put their best troops on the right wing, and that's what we've done here. We've got our line infantry, led by our nameless nobleman on the horse, and they're going to swing wide along the right. These two units are just going to clamber over the walls and get stuck in as fast as they can. Hey, look, we're learning history. Remember that these guys are just farmers. They're not veterans. They're kind of making things up as they go along. On the other side of the coin, I think it is worth pointing out that these are not frontline troops. These are the guys that are stuck in out-of-the-way corners. Look, nothing ever happens in that sleepy little Vendée. Stick the, malcontents and the shirkers and all the kind of goobers down in the Vendée where nothing happens, and then something happens. So, not exactly the best of the French troops. That's a bit of a balancing factor that we should keep in mind whenever we wargame the Vendée. And I haven't given these guys any upgrades whatsoever. On the side of the Vendée, all I've given these guys is aggressive for the farmers, and really that's it. Now, because this is kind of, proto or almost to the Napoleonic era, these guys do have first fire. So the first attack roll that you make, you get a +1. At least these guys do. I don't think these guys do. It's just the line infantry. Be that as it may, we're going to try to, like I said, we're going to try to bring these line infantry in first. They have to go on a 6 or better, and because they have the leader with them, that they get a +1. So on a 5 or better, they will move 3 inches. Hey, they get it. So they're just going to come 3 inches up to here. And then this unit, are they within 6 inches of the leader? They are. So they are also going to be able to move forward 4 inches on a 5 or better. They get the 5 and they do. And then this last unit activates on a 6 or better. So they will also be able to move. The line infantry don't have any bonuses on their movement. The farmers, because they're just kind of an armed rabble or a mob, they are fleet-footed. At least that's what we call it in the other versions of Rampant. I think in this one they just call it open order. But I'm going to continue to call it fleet foot. They do not suffer half penalties for movements when they move through rough going. And any template that's down on the ground, including this one, counts as rough going, okay? Our line infantry for the militia is also going to activate. Now, the leader is here, and he's going to give them a +1. So same thing on a 5 or better. Now, on a 4, they fail to activate. The militia is struggling to get their act together. That does not end the turn. In Rebels and Patriots, everybody gets a chance to go. It's not an automatic turnover. Our cannon is going to be able to move just 2 inches. They can move or they can shoot like everybody else. And moving includes pivoting. So we need to pick, and we are worried about this kind of area through here. So we're going to bring the cannon straight up to there. And on a 9, the cannon will be able to move 2 inches. And I'm just going to go center to center, and then I'm going to pick. So that is which direction the cannon is facing. And that's going to be the end of turn number 1. For turn number 2, we don't want any of this cannon action. We're going to bring our line infantry into this field. We're going to take advantage of the hedges, and he will activate on a 5 or better. They will move into that field. Then, because our leader has moved too far away, look, we're more than, well, he is within 6 inches of this guy. We're not going to give it to him. Activating on a 6 or better, can these guys, well, we're going to move these guys over the fence and into this field, and then we're going to follow up with those guys. So on a 3, these guys don't move, and now we got to roll for these guys, and on a 10. So now the Vendean farmers, remember they get to move 4 inches. It's 3 inches to the wall, and then 1 inch to, well, all right, so we're going to stop them right here at the wall. That's going to be as far as they can go. It costs an extra inch to get over the wall. Since they only have 1 more inch of movement, that's going to be it for them. So we'll just kind of pile them up like this. Our native contingents, there's a little bit of a gap there, half an inch between the forces. They cannot form close order. Close order does give you +1 when you shoot, but of course you can only shoot to your front, and it kind of complicates things. Then you have flanks that you have to protect and all that. We are now down to turn number 2 for our militia. We want to move them on a 5 or better, and with a result of an 8, they will be able to move. So we'll bring our leader over 3 inches, and he's going to stop right here. Now, forming close order does require a move order. So we'll bring these guys up so that we can take some pot shots at the farmers. And the question will be, do we form close order behind the wall first, next turn, or do we just start plinking away? I don't know. What I do know is our cannon does have a shot at these guys over here. The range of a medium cannon is 18 inches, and that's 12 right there, so we're definitely well within range. Take a look at this. We only have this limited arc. We can see a few guys. I'm going to give the infantry the benefit of cover. Now, the way this works, everybody, when you fire at infantry has, well, whenever you fire at anybody, basically, they have a armor of 2. Unless we're at long range, greater than 6 inches, then they have an armor of 3. And because they are in soft cover, the line infantry will have an armor of 4. If you're in hard cover, it would be 5, unless it's a cannon shooting. Cannons always treat all cover as soft cover. So we roll our 12 dice, and the medium gun has a shoot ability of 4. So we're going to roll the dice. We'll count the 4s. And for every 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we only managed to do 1 hit. Well, hey, we'll take it. 1 hit is still 1 hit. That means we have to make our morale check. And in this case, we don't have courage scores, not like the other rampant games. In this case, we have a discipline score, where we may add 1 to the discipline of the unit. Because these are not veterans, there's nothing special about them, they don't have a bonus to their discipline. The only bonus they have is that the leader is with them. So they're going to be at +1 on this roll. But they lost a guy in that shooting, so they're going to be at -1. It's going to be an even roll. If we get a 6 or better, we pass, no problem. If we get a 3, 4, or 5, we're disordered. And if we get 2 or less, we gain, well, let's just roll and see what happens. So on 11, we're fine. If the total, if we fail and the final is 2 or less, we gain 2 disorder markers and must retreat a half a move. That's not the case here. Firing at long range, we are fine. So we have to see what the infantry unit does next. Oh wait, the infantry unit moved this turn, so that's the end of turn number 2. Now we need to see if our other unit of farmers comes on the board or not, and they need to roll a 6 or better to do so. We get a 3, so they are not going to come on the board yet. They're still making their way around the flanks. But everybody else gets a chance. We're going to try to activate this unit first. As before, we need a 6 or better. They fail. Now we'll try to activate these guys. They need a 6 or better. They succeed. So let's go ahead and bring them over the wall. They can move an additional 3 inches, and they are not slowed down by the field. So we're going to plonk them down right here. They are ready to attack. And they're wondering why the guys on their flank aren't helping them out. So I'll move the rest of these guys. Next thing I want to do is try to bring these guys. Now, they're going to try to get into the field here, and that is going to require a test of a 5 or better. And with Snake Eyes, they are also going to fail. Apparently, they're a little more rattled than we thought. We want to know where the cavalry is coming from next. Since the farmers did not come on, we'll pick a random road for the cavalry to come on a 6 or better. With a 7, they do come on. So let cavalry appear, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the road they appear on. And they just appear. So they appear up north, which is probably really bad for the farmers. We'll take another shot with our cannon, looking for a 6 or better. We get the 6, and that means we get to roll. As before, we roll 12d6, hitting on 4s, hoping to get 8 of them. And we get 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1 hit. And then we get 1, 2, 3, 4. So we do another hit. We pull off 2 more of the line infantry. And this time our courage check will be at a total of -1. With a result of a 5, that is a failure. And not only that, so because it's above 2, we get a disorder marker. Let's use the yellow chip as our disordered marker. No, you know what we always use? Well, yeah, we're going to use the yellow chip so we can stack them. We're not going to use the red gems like we usually do. If the unit was already disordered, it becomes broken, which is even worse. And I think that's it. Let's see. It becomes broken and must, if it was already broken, yeah. Okay, so that's it. We're just disordered, which is going to be a problem for that unit moving forward. The last thing we have to do is figure out what we're going to do with the line infantry down here in the south. And in that case, let's just go ahead and open fire on these peasants stomping through the field. With a result of a 6, we will be able to shoot. The line infantry, in this case, has a shoot skill of 5 or better. The farmers are within 6 inches, meaning that for every 2 hits, we will remove a figure. Looking for 5s, we get 1, 2 hits. So we pull off 2, and you're supposed to pull them off from the front in this game, so we'll do that. We're going to pull off 2 of those hits. Oh, you know what we could do? Now, we do have the ability to carry out a skirmish order. Oh, that's only when we're charged. If someone charges these guys, they can, there's a chance they make an activation roll, they can shoot and then move half distance, or they can move half distance and shoot. But that's not the case here. We just take the 2. We lost 2. Now, in this case, we're going to make our courage check at -2. With a discipline of 0, we need an 8 to succeed. With a result of a 6, we failed, but we're still above 2. So this one unit becomes disordered, and that's the end of the turn for the French. Wait a minute, they're all French. For the revolutionaries, for the treasonous forces who have seized the militia. We're going to try to bring on that other unit of farmers. Now, if we're successful, it will only appear either here or off in that direction. Looking for a 6, we get it. So now we're going to roll a d6, and on a 1, 2, 3, they'll appear in the west. And on a 4, they appear in the south. Now, they've just appeared on the road. So here they are. Now, the question becomes, how did they magically appear this close to a unit? I don't know. Maybe there's a bridge just off the table. Maybe there's a hill. Whatever the reason, they are now on the table. But they've used all of their movement getting on the table. So the next thing I want to do is make a recovery check. The rally check is these guys' action for the turn. And the rally check is just what you'd expect. Roll 2 dice, add the total. Now we subtract 1 because they have a disordered marker. And then we add their discipline. They're not in close order. There's no leader nearby. So we have to get a 7 or better. With a 10, they have rallied. So this disorder marker goes away. Then we want to bring these guys over the wall. And with a 3, they won't. They're still kind of hesitant, which means we have to try to rally these guys. Now, these guys up here, the leader gives them a +1, which negates the -1 for this. So they rally as well, but that's going to be it for this turn. The militia, the revolutionaries, now have their work cut out for them. The first thing we're going to do is form close order down here on a 5 or better. And on a 4, this unit is not. He gives the order, and like I said, these guys are not veterans. They're not frontline troops. They're remps, if you will, right? Rear echelon mofos. They failed to activate, and that's really going to cost them. We are going to take another shot with our cannon at the line infantry over here. We get boxcars. That's going to pay off dividends. At least the strong unit up here is just slowly getting whittled down. If we can take out that leader, we'll be in good shape. 1, 2, 3, 4 hits, and then another 4 hits. This cannon, man, these guys are really making up for it. So we pull off 2, and we only subtract 2 because it's just the 2 that we got now. However, we are down to just 7 guys in that unit. With the result of a 7, it becomes an 8 because of the leader. And then it falls down to a 6 because they took 2 casualties. They're fine. Then the last unit we have to do is this cavalry unit who can move 6 inches. So we're going to bring them down. Should we block the cannon fire? Yeah, let's do that. On an 8, they will be able to move 6 inches. And I'm just going to use the guy with the pennant. We'll move to right here. And then we'll bring the rest of the forces up kind of around like that. So they kind of filter through this little gap. And that is going to be the end of turn number 3. It becomes the Vendée farmers' turn. Starting down here in the south, we want to bring these guys into hand-to-hand combat with this line infantry. Had the line infantry been able to form close order, they would have been in much better shape to receive this charge. As it is,
They don't get any bonuses, so we should probably check. On the attack, these guys, do these farmers have any kind of bonus for that? They do not. They're bad shooters, but they are aggressive. Okay, so we roll to see if they make contact, and with a 10, they do. Now, I'm just going to bring a couple of guys up. And the reason I'm doing that is that this melee works the same way as other melees. Our farmers are aggressive. They're armed with melee weapons, with pikes. They've straightened their scythes. They've got their pitchforks. They are ready to go. They are going to be hitting on 4s. And because they're attacking infantry, every 2 hits will remove a figure. So a little bit of payback. 1, 2, and then they have a 5, and that's it. So they only managed to do 2 casualties to the line infantry. Then the line infantry is going to counterattack, and the line infantry for the militia are... They only hit on 6s. Ah. You know, I forgot they get a +1 on that first shot. Okay, got to remember that. Line infantry gets first fire. They only hit on 6s. They're going to do 1 casualty, and we'll pull 1 guy off, like so. What does that mean for who won the melee? The side that loses the most casualties must retreat a half a move. That means our militia is going to have to retreat an 1.5 inches. And I'm just going to bring these guys back. So there's an 1.5 inches separation. Because these natives have skirmish, they are able to follow up a half a move of their own. And because they normally move 4 versus 3, that means our skirmishers are going to be able to close the gap. They're going to be able to complete the pursuit and launch a second round of melee immediately. Do they need to roll activation for that? This is not entirely clear to me. I'm going to go ahead. So here's the question. Do we test morale and then do the follow-up move? Or do we do the follow-up move, do another round of combat, and then test morale? That's the way I'm going to do it. So this is all going to be treated as one big melee. The militia has already lost 2 units. For every pair of 4s or betters, they will lose more. So there's 1, 2, and again, not great rolls, but I guess we'll take it. So we lose 2 more guys. And oh, I almost forgot. We have to test for the leader. But again, I'm going to wait until the melee is done. Even though we have performed a second round, I'll do all of my tests as though this was just one big fight. The line gets to counterattack, and they have a pair of 6s. This one was kind of cocked, but we'll give it to them. There is another casualty, so the Vendéans have lost 2 altogether versus 4 for the line infantry. 2, 4, 6. Wait, they've lost 6 altogether so far? Did I not put enough guys down? Oh, no, here they are. They're just kind of mixed into the swirling. Okay. Now, got to find out if the leader died. And to do that, we roll 2d6, and we subtract 1 for every casualty. So we're going to subtract 4 from this result. And we get a 6. If the result is a 1 or less, so he just barely made it, our leader survives. Now we're going to check morale. The boys in blue are going to have to test at -4. Oh, a +1 because they have the leader. So -4 + 1 is going to give them a result of a 3 altogether. So, oh, wait a minute. So it's a -3 altogether. They get a result of a 3. That means they receive a disordered marker. Our farmers are going to have to test at a total of -2. And with a result of a 4, they score a 2, which is terrible. Oh, now, is it 2 or more? If it's above 2, if it's 2 or less, gain 2 disorder markers and retreat half a move. There you go. So in this case, we have 2 disorder markers. And we're going to have to pull them back 2 inches. Boom. So we'll pull them back to here. They're classed as broken with the 2. On the next turn, they're forced to attempt to rally. And if they fail to rally, then they rout off the table. We still have these guys who are 3 inches away. They are going to be able to leap over the wall if they can get that 6 or better. They do not activate. These guys now, I think we should bring these guys over here. on a 6 or better, they don't activate. And now we're going to try to take a shot at the cavalry from a little better look at the conundrum. If they form close order, they're going to be exposed to cannon fire. So we're just going to leave them there. We're just going to try to take out this unit of cavalry. We have successfully opened fire, and this is our first fire for that line infantry. So they are going to be hitting on 4s. And because they still have 7 guys, they will be shooting at full power. 7 guys looking for 4s, and they get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they finally managed to shoot at an average ability. Let's check and see what armor does when you're shooting at the horses. At short range, which we're at, it's 2 hits. A cover makes it 3, and I think that's it. So for every 3 hits, we will remove 1 cavalryman. Kablow. And they don't get to return fire. There is no firefight in this one. So the cavalry has to make their morale check at a total of -2. Remember I said these guys are veteran. They get a +1. So it's a total of -1, which puts them at a 5, and they will be disordered. So we'll drop a little yellow disorder marker down. And that just means that when they do get stuck in, they will be fighting at half power, which may be okay. Maybe we want to do that. Maybe we go ahead and bring these guys, just keep moving them. Maybe we move them over here to challenge those other guys. In fact, it's their turn. So let's start with this unit. They're at -1. We're actually going to move them out of the way so this cannon can take a shot. They're at -1. They need a 7 to activate. Oh, no, they're at -1 because they're disordered. They do not. Oh, man, that was a bad idea, moving into the range, because now the cannon can't fire at these guys. So what do we do next? Let's try to... let's move the cannon next. The cannon is going to roll a 5, and our leader is disordered. I don't know if we get the +1 because of the leader's disorder mark. The officer is still here. I'm going to allow it. The cannon gets a +1 to their activation. On a 6, they can activate. They're going to be able to move 2 inches. They're going to fire. They're going to point down the road like so. Cannons do have a fire arc. They're only going to be able to fire down the road, and that may change things. Then we're going to try to rally this unit here. This is at +1 because the leader is there, and because we are successful, that goes away. They will be fighting with full strength now. Play now kicks over to the Vendée farmers, and to take advantage of the cannon pivoting this way, we're going to try to secure the flank. We're going to try to bring this unit over to here. And with a 3, they're not going to move. Wow, we're really struggling to get these guys into action, aren't we? We need these guys down here. This unit of natives is double broken. So we're going to try to recover them. And with a 0, they're just going to run off. They're at -2 because they're broken. And because they earn 1 more disorder marker, they don't want any more of this. This is why we play the games, guys. This is why we roll the dice. Then we're going to bring these guys up, and I guess we'll try to sweep them around this way. With a result of a 6, they will move 4 inches, and that 4 inches, they're 3 inches from the wall. We'll kind of put them like halfway in and out. We're going to consider them to have already spent the movement points to get over the wall, and I really wish I would have used bigger bases on these models. Some of these pitchfork guys are just a little bit front heavy. And while we like that in our women, we don't like it in our models because, well, hey, either way, it makes them unstable, doesn't it? The last thing we have to do is figure out, well, let's go ahead and open fire with these guys 1 more time. And with a result of a 5, oh, but they got the leader. So that's a 6. So that means they do get to take a shot. They are hitting on 5s. And they get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. Now the other 2 don't do any. Wait a minute. What did we decide? Oh, right, because it's cover here. 3 hits to the kill. So they knock out 1 more guy. Now this means the cavalry are permanently disordered. When you are at half strength, as these guys are, you gain a permanent disorder marker. So that makes them, I think that makes them broken because they immediately gain that disorder marker. To make this rally test, they're going to be at -3 on this check.
So with a 4, -3, where's the leader? The leader's nowhere near. So with a 4, -3, they're at -1. They get another token, which means the cavalry skedaddles. Their third disorder marker completely routs them. Hey, nice shooting there, guys. And the cannon is now facing the wrong way. That is the end of the Royalists' turn. So we kick over to the boys in blue. Our leader has formed line here. They are going to get the benefit of the cover when these guys attack. If these guys get on a horse, man. But we're going to start up here. We want to bring our leader into this field over here where it's safe. We finally do. He's only going to be able to move 2 inches. Is he 2 inches away from the... Yeah. So I'm going to put him in the field. We've spent the inch to get over the hedge, but we still haven't spent the inch to actually move the boys. We're going to move these boys over to... Well, now we're going to try to bring these guys down to take out the line. With a 9, they will finally be successful. They get stuck in, and it's going to take a couple of more hits because the line infantry, it might actually take more than that. So we'll just pile them in. And then these guys are going to try to move behind the house. And with a 10, they finally do. They're not having any of it. They get to move 3 inches. We'll handle the melee here in just a second. So they are going to try to race around the house and get stuck in to that cannon. And we'll have to check the cannon, see if they can give them a whiff of grape. Be as it may, we still have a melee we got to resolve down here. The farmers are still aggressive. They're still going to be hitting on 4s. It's just a question of how many casualties they cause. We'll call that a 3. So they roll how many successes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 successes. So on average, that's fine. Wait a minute, I've been shortchanging them. When you make a successful charge action, your fight goes up by 1. They hit on 3s, meaning they've done a total of 10 hits. What does that mean? Same thing. Infantry have, well, wait a minute. It means the same thing. They've done a total of 4 and 4. They will remove 2 casualties from their enemy. Then the line infantry counterattacks. And because they're in close order, I think they get a +1 to their attacks there. Their fight value goes up by 1, and their discipline goes up by 1. So in this case, the line infantry is going to be hitting on 5s, and they will have a +1 on the morale check. So hitting on 5s, and that's going to be 1, 2, 3 hits, and that's it. That's only going to remove 1 farmer. The farmers do not receive the benefit of hard cover because they're attacking this wall. So the farmers need to make a morale check at -1. With a result of a 4, they will be disordered. The line infantry, the boys in blue, are at half strength, so they are going to be at -1. They're automatically disordered. They're at +1 because of the leader. They took 2 casualties, so this will be at a total of -2. With a result of an 8, they are fine. Because they lost, they do still need to retreat that 1.5 inches. And because they are no longer, well, so a couple of things. They're no longer in line, the close order. These old boys are going to get to pursue, but they won't be, again, they can make their pursuit, but they're going to fall short this time. Because they've scrambled over the fence, they can only move 1 inch versus the 1.5 inches that the line infantry moved. So they're disordered, but at least they've managed to get over the fence. And then we have one more unit that needs to go. Our leader, way over here in the distance, is going to try to move, and with a 6, they will move 3 inches, and that 3 inches will carry him to here, thus negating, so we've now moved our 3 inches. And now our cannon does not have anybody to shoot at. Sorry, guys. That means they're going to retreat. It is their turn, and on a 9, they're going to go ahead and pull back another 2 inches to this gap right here. And maybe that buys them an extra turn of shooting at these guys who are quickly beginning to... Hold turn just a little bit, so we got that fire alley right here.
they're quickly losing ground. Remember, this was the whole objective of the game for the Vendée farmers. Then our line infantry is going to, well, they're not in close order, but they do still need to try to rally. They are going to be at a total of -1, +1 for the leader. Oh, we didn't check. Did that leader die? We're at -1, so 6 is 4. He's fine. Then we're just going to rally. Oh, they can't rally. They cannot recover that. So instead, we're just going to open fire. We're going to shoot with 6 of our guns. We're hitting on 5s or better. And we're at half strength, so we only roll 6 dice. And we're hitting on 5s. We got 1, 2 hits. So we will do a casualty. And that casualty means that our farmers, they're already disordered. They're going to be at -1. They took 1 casualty. They're going to be at -2 on this check. And we'll re-roll this one just because it was really cocked. So at a 7, they're going to be fine. Now it's the Vendée farmer's turn, and we're going to... Boy, should we go ahead and charge, even though we're disordered? We need a 7 or better to do that. Let's do it. Let's finish him. We'll call that an 11. We're going to charge in, and although we only get 6 dice, so do they. So we'll clear these guys out of here, and we'll roll our 6 dice. Because they charged, they are going to be hitting on 3s, and this is the real reason we don't mind rolling just 6 dice. We're going to get 2 hits, which only does 1 casualty. If we roll snake eyes, the leader died. We don't. He didn't. Now the guys, the line infantry is going to follow up. They're going to roll, and they only hit on 6s. So if we get a pair of 6s, which we did, that's going to be a tie. Both sides lose 1 guy, and both sides need to make a morale check. This one, for the boys in blue, is going to be at a total of -1. So 4 -1, they have to fall back because they earn a 2nd disordered marker. But they do not have to worry about pursuit because, what's going on? Oh, that's a Vendée, okay. They don't have to worry about pursuit because the Vendée lost 1 guy as well. They make their morale check and they pass. So no follow-up because it was a 1v1 for the losses. Then we're going to try to bring these guys... What do? No, we're going to hold tight with these guys. We're going to try to bring our leader up. And with an 11, he's going to move another 2 inches. And that brings him to here. That is where this unit will land. Okay. So we've moved all of our farmers. Now it's back to, we got to try to rally our leader's unit. And with an 8, becomes a 7, we will be able to remove 1 disordered marker. And that'll help us on the next turn as we just try to hold our ground. Our cannon still does not have anybody to shoot. Oh, does he have a shot? He does not. We need to pivot to try to shoot that. Well, no, we said, I take it back. We said he's got a shot down the lane here, which means, that being the case, we're going to bring our leader behind this house. He's taking cover here for 1 more turn. So the cannon decides, you know what, I'm going to fall back another 2 inches. Am I, or do I want to wait? No, we just want to leave him right there. We need to be able to shoot at these 2 units that are closing in on us. Speaking of these 2 units that are closing in on us, we're going to move these guys forward again. We're going to attack with a result of an 8 -1 for the disordered. That's a 7. So we do get our attack in. And this time, we will be attacking with 6 dice because we are still disordered. But we are still hitting on 3s. And we get a total of 2 casualties out of that. The French line infantry takes 2 casualties. They attack back, hitting on 5s. And we get no casualties. So the farmers don't have to make a morale check. But the line infantry do, and that morale check is going to be at a total of -3, +1 for the leader. We're at -2. With a 6, they pass. They're fine. No, because they lost... I take it back. We're not to that point yet. Because they lost the fight, they fall back 1.5 inches. The natives pursue 2 inches, and the natives get a 2nd round of attacks. Again, hitting on 3s, and they're going to just score 1 hit this time. So they've done a total of 3 casualties in this combat. To the line infantry, they get a 5, and that's it. The line infantry still didn't score any casualties. So now we need to check. Does our leader die? We roll at -3 on a 4. So 5 minus 3 is 2. He's still alive. We have to make a casualty check at -4 plus 1, so we're at a total of -3. And our morale check of 2 means the leader skedaddles. That is the end of the line infantry. The boys in blue, now this cannon has to make a morale check as well. Their leader has quit the field, and they are going to stick around, but I think we're just about done at this point. Can that one cannon withstand all 3 units of Vendée farmers? That's the question. We still have to make a move here. And on a 7, they'll move forward, and our leader now will move forward as well, and our leader does. So the leader moves 3 inches, 1, 2, 3. These guys move 4 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4 to there. And that will be it for the Vendée farmers. The cannon is going to try to fire at the nearest unit, and with a result of a 5, they fail. They don't get the shot off. Remember that they are, I think they're at -1 because the leader is gone. I think they get a permanent disorder marker. Not 100% sure about that. But regardless, unless they still need to roll a 6 or better, which they did not. So we're going to rally this group down here. And on an 8, that becomes a 6, and they rally. Then we're going to close in with this unit, which moves on a... Ooh, that's an attack action, isn't it? Not quite. They are 4.5 inches away. We're going to bring these guys up first because they are strong. And they're going to have to take 1 cannon shot. We'll leave our leader in reserve. He'll come up to just, within 3 inches. Then the cannon is going to try to fire, and on an 8, he will. All 12 dice. Let's see if he can drive off this charging unit. And I know I haven't moved all the guys. It's late. The hour is late. There you go. There's our mob. The cannon is going to fire, and he gets a pretty good roll there, doesn't he? He is shooting on a 4 or better. So, wow, he got a really good roll this time. He might actually pull it off. He is going to remove a casualty for every pair, and he gets a total of 4. So he just blasts 4 of these guys to smithereens. They have to make a morale check at -3. They got the leader nearby. And with a result of a 3, they will earn a disorder marker. All right, well, that's fine, because it's their turn. And they're going to activate on a 5. No, I take it back. It's going to be -1 plus 1. So they will activate on a 6. And they will charge into melee. And now because they charge, they're hitting on 3s. And I think this is probably going to end it. So we get 1, 2, and 3 casualties for the cannon. The cannon makes their morale check, and you know what? Listen, it's over. This is the point of the game where it's pretty clear that we have 3 full units that are above half strength. The cannon is down to just basically half strength already, so we're going to call it right here. Again, this is our first run-through of Rebels and Patriots. I think it works reasonably well. I'm going to go back now. Remember, this is how we learn. We do it. We go back. We reread the rules. We identify what we did wrong. And in my case, I'm going to edit this video, and I'm going to look and go, oh, shoot, I forgot that, and I forgot that, and I forgot that. Couple of key misses. We forgot that the line infantry on both sides of the ledger get a +1 on their first attack or shooting. That's kind of important. But otherwise, I think we did a pretty good job. I think we learned that light cavalry is not great in this game. You need to buy them a couple of upgrades to really make them worth the points. And, the Vendéans now have secured a cannon, so we may go ahead and play a 24-point game where the Vendéans have a cannon. The Vendéans typically did not have a whole lot of cavalry, maybe 1 or 2 smallish units, maybe a little bit of light infantry or light cavalry, but that's going to be about it. I think this is a really good way to run this particular conflict, which is becoming less obscure all the time because, man, there's a lot of guys. In fact, if you just kind of poke around the web, if you're interested in Wargaming the Vendée, just poke around. Tons of blogs have talked about it. I'm not the first. I'm just standing on the shoulders of those giants. Hey, till next time, I'm praying for you.